Welcome everyone to the first venture into a new project that I am currently calling Paths Less Traveled. Now obviously my mistake in doing this is that I struggle saying pass, but nevertheless, I am your ever humble host, Jake, and I'm joined today by four friends who are about to embark on a brand new adventure. So, to my four friends here, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves, as I suddenly realize I should have pinged the Discord. Whoever wants to go first, please. I beg of you.
Well, screw it. Why not? I got it. Um, I'll claim spot number one of the four friends, if you will. My name is Shy. I'm the not so shy. Um, I do some of my own content creation via Twitch, someday in YouTube. I do gaming stuff, and I also do a lot of BB's monster tests that he does streams of every Saturday. So you can consider me a regular, if you will.
Awesome. Well, it is great to have you. Yeah, you and I have been playing at least 2 years, right? Not longer than that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty terrible with time, but that sounds about right.
Well, excellent. To cut down on the silence, uh, why don't we have Decaf go next?
Sure. Yeah, I am Decaf. I am also a common playtester with BB's channel for the Ready to Die RPG channel. On Twitch, I pretty much am known just to hop in and play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and I am otherwise just a lurker on the Discord.
And speaking of the Discord, Vorthus is a pretty active part of that, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy?
Yep, hey, I'm Vortas. I am another player in one of BB's Pathfinder games, and well, as a member of his Discord where I just kind of chat with others, share some of what I create, which is mostly Legend of Zelda themed monsters for the Pathfinder 2nd Edition system.
Excellent. And last but absolutely not least, we have the ever-worthy Thread.
Hello! Thank you so much, Jake. Happy to be here on my second Ready to Die adventure. Got pulled in last year, has been the best time. I also do content creation on YouTube, but has nothing to do with gaming. However, I love gaming. I love things anime. And so I'm very excited about our next adventure here for sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I thank you for coming along on what is sure to be a fantastic journey. Now, if any of you have checked out some of the more obscure parts of the channel, you might recognize most of this group from the Turngrave Affair. But today is the start of something a little different. Firstly, we are missing my dear departed friend Zach, who, while technically not dead, is unavailable for the foreseeable future to continue that adventure. As the person that introduced me to Pathfinder,
the way that started was just, I was like, while not dead, that was just a perfect lead up for is dead to me. No.
He's close enough.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, as he is the person that introduced me to Pathfinder in the first place, I kind of would like him there to see the journey through. But I also want to keep playing with these lovely lads and lasses, and so we're starting this new series, Paths Less Traveled. In this, we will take a few weeks to explore various different games and systems to test them out, show them off, and just have some fun together. When possible, we're going to start with character creation and take you all the way through an intro adventure or something similar that we can find for the game. Now to kick off this series, we are playing Fabula Ultima. This system was created by Italian game designer Emanuele Galetto, illustrated by Kathy Trin and Moroyo, and I'm going to butcher these names, I apologize, and is published by Need Games. Back in 2023, it won ENnie Awards for Best Game and Product of the Year, and can be purchased on the Need Games stores, as well as other common RPG sites such as DriveThruRPG and Movidius. But what is it all about? Well, to the delight of my players and my ever-mounting trepidation, it is based on the likes of classic weeb games. I'm sorry, JRPGs. The book references drawing inspiration from the likes of Octopath Traveler, Bravely Default, and Final Fantasy. One of those I've actually heard of. Players and the GM work together to craft a world, whether it be one of fantasy, futuristic tech, or somewhere in between, that they then explore with characters tied deeply to the core thematics. And that's actually what we're all starting with today. This here is our session 0, where we're going to sit down, make samurais who can cut through mountains, ninjas that wear bright colors, and I'm sure 1 or 2 cat girls. With that, let's go ahead and get into this mess. So, as I said, we are starting off with character creation. And we're just sort of going to go through all of this together. I'm going to have all your character sheets up as we put things in place. And so, as part of that, I'm taking up the
Very
entire
excited for the
screen with
report.
character sheets. Perfect.
Oh no.
I would assume you would like us to have our character sheets up for ourselves on our end, yes?
Yeah, if everybody can have their character sheets up. Sheratos, welcome to the stream. Yes, we are doing the press start adventure for Fabula Ultima, which, like I said, it's a JRPG-inspired tabletop. So, for this particular instance, we're just going to start with character creation. Normally, you would start with group creation. However, we kind of using the press start. It normally comes with pre-built characters, but we do want to fully explore this system, see what it has to offer. I think part of that is the character creation stuff. And so, to begin with all of that,
Yeah, that's fair.
to start
To
with
pull up your
everything.
sheet, in case you are not aware, it is that 3rd tab. So it'll be labeled as journals, and you click on
Yep.
journal, and you should have a character that you can just click on.
Yep, Thread's
She's
clicking around
open.
on it, driving me.
Yep.
All
She's
over the
open.
place.
She's ready.
So characters in Fabula Ultima start at level 5. And we're going to go through a sort of 8-step process here to create them. Now, as a note, I cannot actually see what is going on in chat because I have that, not in chat, but in our messages over here, because I have that covered. So yeah, character traits. But so what we
Don't
start
mind
with, will be on the character tab of your sheet. Because the first step is creating your character's identity. Now, your character's identity is a short sentence that quickly summarizes how they currently see themselves. When you create an identity, you want to keep an eye on the list of available classes and make sure there's a combination of 2 or 3 classes that fit your identity. Some examples are Royal Knight, Battle Priestess of the Old Faith, Elderly Amnesiac Sorcerer, or Freedom Fighting Brawler. There's lots more, and it's really the limits to what you guys can make. Now, where identity matters is that you can invoke your identity to give yourself an edge when making certain checks. Also, your identity may change over the course of the adventure. Probably not ours, given its shortness, but you might have a Captain of the Crimson Reapers who redeems herself and changes her identity to that of the Knight of the White Flame. Now, if you guys don't have an idea right off the bat, there's a table that we can roll on for it. So,
That's cool too.
yeah, who wants to take the lead here? I think
I
Vorthis.
definitely.
Oh, you have an idea?
Yes,
I
do.
have some. Yeah, go for it, Vorthis.
Yeah,
Okay.
Vorthis, you already have a character in mind. So if you want to, what is your identity?
Right, so my identity here is, so if you look on the table, specifically the second table, on page 157, if you have the PDF up,
Yep.
you see that there was an adjective for non-human.
Yep.
I figured I would go with my typical, one of my go-to RPG characters, half-dragon, monster hunting gunslinger.
Okay. Sounds good. So are you going to put all of that in the identity, or is it just going to be Half Dragon Gunslinger? What are we feeling?
Second Half Dragon Monster Hunting Gunplayer under identity, and her name
Okay.
is Claire Spitfire.
All right. And you are free to go ahead and enter that in. Perfect.
Yep.
All right, so we have one concept already in place. Thread, you sounded like you had something you wanted to mention, idea. You want to go next?
Yeah, because my issue is I like too many of them. There are too many options. So I was hoping to hold space that would be connected with the team, that would be useful for our group. The ones that I was debating between, let's say we're going back here. I also was like, ooh, sharpshooter, but it sounds like we have a shooter on our hands. I also thought about weapon master because, as most folks know, I tend to typically be a paladin or a champion. But I was trying to be like, do I always have to do that? No. There was also the spiritist, on brand for paladin. Tinkerer was very interesting to me as well. And then lastly, Fury, because as a Fate Zero, Fate Stay Knight, I delight in that space. Berserkers are always dope. And so I thought it was a great opportunity to be a Berserker as well. So was looking at the Fury one. So those were my options, but it would, I'm happy to go in many directions, as we can see, and go from there. For sure.
Okay. So then you kind of want to see where others go with it. So
Yeah.
that is going to bring us to Shire Decaf. Either one of you want to take the lead here?
Screw it. Unless anyone else wants to cut me off, I think I have an idea for what I would want my title to be.
Okay, your
I am
identity.
gonna go ahead and,
What are you thinking?
did I say title?
Yeah.
But anyways, yes, my identity. I'm thinking, kind of using that same set of tables, actually, believe it or not. Let's see. I was gonna go with Prince from the 1-2 on spot 20.
Okay.
Or concept. And then otherwise, just because I feel like it's me, it's kind of who I am. I was thinking like, free-spirited prince.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm debating what I want to do for like that detail if I so decide. But
Yeah.
free-spirited prince of or with or something.
Yeah, so just to show people in the stream or watching this on YouTube, the identity creation tables have a sort of core concept to work off of, and then it suggests using an adjective and a detail. However, you don't have to use all of that. It always says up to 2 or up to 1, and so that can be 0.
Yeah, you can. This was just a way for me to be like, let's just use what it already has.
Yeah, no. If it helps guide the process, that is great. So free-spirited prince, I like that. I think that's a good. Sort of starting point.
Yeah.
So if you want to
put that in,
go ahead and put that in your theme, and that brings us to
theme or identity.
This is identity. I misspoke.
Okay, making sure.
Yep, but that brings us to decaf.
All right. I think I did this when we were building for maybe Conan. I don't know. There was a system where we used a lot of tables, and I said, you know what? Let's just rely on the tables. So that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Okay, we're going to roll some dice.
Looks like I've got a 1, so I'm going to go for that first column. We're going to
Okay.
roll a d20. Looks like I'm rolling a 3, so that is a martial artist.
As your core concept.
Interesting. Okay. So we'll just make note of that. I'm just going to type that into identity right now.
Yep, yeah, just as like a sort of starting point.
Just so I can hold on to it. Let's take a look at these adjectives. Looks like I have 2 columns yet again. D6 says first column, D20 says net 20. I'm a tough martial artist. Nothing better than being tough.
And it says
then
it
last
does
detail.
say up to 2 core concepts and 2 adjectives. So if you want to roll on either of those tables again.
Interesting. You know what? Yeah, let's try and mix and match. Let's see what happens. I'd be curious.
Okay.
We'll roll a d6 to go back to that first one. That puts me in the third column. That would be a d20 for another 3. So that would be a rebel agent for a martial
okay.
artist.
Okay.
Interesting.
There's some concepts we can work in there.
Yep. Trained MI6 agent from a fantasy world, something like that.
Exactly.
We'll put this together.
Well, I can totally
Just call me
do
Tom
that.
Cruise.
Just calling you Tom Cruise.
Just call
Alright,
me Tom
so,
Cruise. And chivalrous. I'm
Angel.
basically describing a paladin without a sword and shield.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
sounds like you're a paladin
So-
that abandoned a slightly more evil group, or a slightly less chivalrous group.
I don't know.
It's-
Are you sure you're not just playing fantasy James Bond?
Always. That is always the goal.
In our spirit.
Beautiful.
But yeah, so there's those. Technically, there is also that last column for like an extra detail to roll up to 1. I would just be curious to see if it gives us anything extra for fun. With a 9, that would say of the 7 seas.
Oh, so you're a former pirate. You're a pirate martial artist. If you want to roll with that.
You know what? I was a
Yeah.
privateer, but then maybe the ship crew I was with went more towards the piracy scope, so I left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or
Excellent.
Dread
Okay,
Pirate
so-
Robert.
You rolled a lot of stuff here. Do you want to keep all of it as part of your theme?
Let me think about this. So, because this is where I'm gonna actually come down on this one. So I think between tough and chivalrous, my personality is going to lean towards chivalry is dead. So we're gonna just keep tough.
Okay.
Between martial artist and rebel artist, I want to keep my options open for when we go into class building. So I'm actually going to just say rebel artist over martial artist
Okay.
for the time being, or rebel agent. Sorry, that's on
Yep.
me. But you know what? I do like the idea of maybe not being from here and just kind of being part of the group that comes together. So I could say I'm not from the city initially.
Yeah. No, I think that works.
So I have some outside scope. But yeah, I'm happy with just being a tough rebel agent.
Okay. You don't want to be of the 7 seas?
You know, I'll add that in there. We'll add that.
Yeah. Hey, you know
could
what?
add
If,
formally of
Formerly.
if sailing comes up, you can lean on your theme to get a bonus there.
I mean, with how often piloting lore and sailing lore comes up in my own games that I run, this just makes sense. Isn't that right, Shai?
yeah, I was just about to say.
Well, Thread, that brings us back
Yes.
to you. Have you had any
It did-
ideas here?
It did not help.
Did not help.
Roll,
but it
To be
roll,
did.
fair,
roll,
Thread,
roll.
If it helps. There's
Rolling,
there's the
rolling.
option to roll. And
I thought about it.
realistically, I mean, we are only picking our identity. My identity shows nothing of my class. Same for decaf. This is just the
Ah,
identity if it helps.
Yep.
got you. I misunderstood. I thought it was all together.
There's some mechanical
Um,
relevance here, but it's not.
Yes.
It doesn't determine your abilities like your class does.
Got you. Well, looking at it here, we definitely, you know what? Everyone's so. Wait, is the gunslinger also young and sprightly as well?
I'm sorry, what?
Porthos? Is the gunslinger also going to be young and sprightly?
Depends if you consider like 27, 28 young in a JRPG. That's pushing it.
That is almost senior citizen. No.
I was gonna say.
I'm
They are-
still under 30, so I'm not at death's door yet. But
I was thinking of going the elderly route then. So like 40.
Okay.
oh my god, yeah, that's yeah,
Damn,
that's
you are on
elderly.
this door.
You could be a
Oh my
mentor.
God.
You could be a mentor for the party or
Yes.
something.
Yes. So I was thinking elderly. Do I want to be wanted or do I want to be reckless? Because respectable seems easy. Um, let's see.
See,
Is
if you're
this where
looking
we
for an
roll?
adjective, yeah, you want to roll for an adjective?
Yeah, let's roll.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me a 1d6.
All right.
Forward to seeing
On
what that
it.
turns into, but I still have to admit the idea of a reckless old person is amusing to me.
Nope, that didn't do it. Is it backslash? Probably.
It's brackets, double brackets.
Swap the two. That works too, but if you do /r, not r/.
Ah, that's where it is. 1, 8, 6. All right.
2. All right. So now roll a
Yeah.
1d20. As we look at your
Yeah.
adjectives, we're looking at the column 1.
The column 1d20.
Gonna be hilarious if you roll like Oathbreaker.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
It'd be hilarious if you roll 13 and you get elderly 5. You are a troubled mentor.
Troubled. Yes, I'm a troubled elderly mentor. It will relate to either me being a spiritist or an either spiritist, alchemist, or tinkerer, since it looks like we got the weapons game on lock.
Okay. Do you want to add
And
a
again, I
detail,
don't know if
like
classes are really-
of the 7 C's or something?
Also of the 7 Seas.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you could be.
Yes.
There's a detail
That's
here
weird
that
trouble
says.
came with.
There's a detail here that says from the moon.
Ooh, do we need a moon mentor?
Do you need a
Because
moon
we
person?
gotta connect. I think we always need a moon person. Let's go. Elderly from the moon.
So elderly troubled
Ah.
mentor from the moon.
Please
Yes,
be a
the
rabbit
moon-
hole.
I mean, if that's what it takes, I'm just gonna replicate Blue's character.
I'm not sure
The
from
last-
the moon. I'm not sure from the moon is going to be relevant in this little adventure, but we will find out together. So go ahead and enter
That's
all
what-
that
Right.
in your character's identity.
Yes. All right. Mind you, elderly. I will put in parentheses 40. Troubled.
Step 2 is theme. Each player character in Fabula Ultima is defined by a primary theme, a strong ideal or emotion driving their actions and choices. If you had to build an entire scene around your character, their theme would be its dominant force. If this is your first character, strongly suggest that you pick your theme from the list below. Otherwise, you can create something new and unique. Discuss this choice with the rest of your group, and make it sure it creates interesting situations. So the list of suggested themes are ambition, anger, belonging, doubt, duty, guilt, hope, justice, mercy, and vengeance.
I need doubt or vengeance.
Well, why don't we go in reverse order of what we just did? So, Thread, why don't we start with you?
So, am I going to be a shady elderly queen? Or am I going to be a vengeful queen? We touch on that fury a little bit. What do you think, Decaf? Doubt or vengeance?
I mean, I love nothing more than being part of the community for such a long time that you just clock people.
Yes, doubt it is.
Okay. So, the elderly troubled mentor from the moon has a theme of doubt. Maybe you're unsure of your place in this world, being from the moon.
Oh, I thought doubt meant I doubt the competency of others.
Oh, the theme of doubt is the description for it is you live to fulfill a promise you made or obey an order you sorry, that's duty. Doubt. You need to
Duty.
find the answer to a burning question.
And the burning question is, why is everyone incompetent?
Sure.
I love it.
Honestly, why not? That sounds like an anime character.
It really
All
does.
Why is everyone around me such an idiot?
All
It's
right.
giving
Well,
Shishomaru.
all right. I'm going to put doubt, and for my own notes, why is everybody else an idiot? Okay. Well, continuing the turning back of the clock, that would make Decaf our next character to choose a theme.
Well, look at that. There's a perfect amount of 10 specific options, and there is a D10 for rolling die.
All right. So an 8.
Justice!
Hey, there we go. Well, it looks like we're shoving chivalry into your character whether you want it or not.
You know what? I just don't like chivalry because it's like to be gallant, but especially towards women. Like, why are we still hanging on to like the gender identity of being chivalrous? It disgusts me. But I can
That's
work with
right.
justice and be tough.
You can hold the door to everybody.
Equal rights,
Exactly.
equal lefts.
Equal rights.
Exactly.
Equal rights, equal fights.
That word just needs to be burned and re-evolved into something else.
Okay, so you
Get punched in the face.
feel good with a theme of justice though for this character? This,
I do because I
rebel agent?
do see a theme of like when you know what the right way is, but everyone around you is following a status quo that is corrupt and wrong. You stand up for that justice and you rebel.
Okay.
So absolutely, it's on.
All right, perfect. And so next would be Shy.
Hello.
Shy, are you
Uh,
looking to choose from the list? Like I said, if you guys want to make your
I
own,
was.
that is also fine.
I think so far I'm just kind of choosing from like lists, whereas like Decap's doing the roll thing, so we're both doing very similar,
Yeah.
but we're just using the lists provided. And speaking of the list provided, funny enough, before we even got to me, I was thinking justice.
We could have two people going after justice.
I don't see why not. Yeah.
Yeah. They could be bound by the desire for it. Or it could be
Maybe that's why they
interesting. It could also be interesting to explore what justice means to different characters.
True.
And then finally, we are back to Vorthis.
Yep. Now, I actually have it narrowed down to two of the themes here. So, I'm either thinking anger,
Okay. You are
Or-
ticking bomb, always on the brink of rage.
yep, or belonging, because you're the half-dragon, and I would imagine there aren't that many of them around.
You are afraid of being alone, forgotten, or abandoned. I do want to mention, Ocean Boy points out that the third tenet of chivalry says, "Thou shalt respect all weaknesses, and shalt constitute thyself the defender of them." So, that seems a little less gendered. But, just food for thought. So yeah, anger or belonging for Claire here.
Ooh. I will.
Yeah,
If
I feel
you
like
go
anger makes sense, but that's more how she fights than in general. I feel like belonging would be more interesting in the long run.
Well, while this is, like I said, a shorter adventure, it's also worth pointing out. Just like with Identity, you are able to change your theme over the course of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think she has more of just starting out? Is she just angry, just lashing out more at others? Or do you think she has that belonging that she wants more inside her?
I'm gonna go with anger.
Okay.
First. Now, I feel like that over time that might go into belonging, but I
Yeah.
think anger worked out better. That's how she kind of like takes it out. Why she's a monster hunter? She's taking out her anger, killing all these monsters basically.
All right, I think
It
that's
does almost
a good
sound
start.
like they're like hand in hand for her, and it's almost like her theme is anger. She just hasn't realized it. Maybe it's because of belonging. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, and so themes are something that can evolve.
I like the layers. I also like that both the ladies are gonna be very angry.
So, next is origin. All heroes come from somewhere. This is their origin. It might be a humble village, a great city, or even something more fantastical, such as a palace or the depths of the ocean, the moon's surface, or an entirely different solar system. Your origin may be invoked to reroll one or both dice during a check. However, you will normally be unable to change your origin in play, unless you suddenly discover you come from an entirely different place and your memories are fake, which is a fantasy trope as well. So this one is a little bit harder. We're just going to go for something a little bit more general, because baseline is that you guys are coming from Denova, which is sort of like a city-state that is ruled over by a king. But you guys could choose more sort of like general options. Like you could be like, I mean, we have somebody who's from the moon, but maybe she's from a palace on the moon. Maybe she's from a observatory on the moon or something. But why don't we're just gonna, we just went up the line, so we're gonna go back down. So we're gonna start with Vorthis again.
Yep. So in my case, I actually kind of had the idea of Claire come from a mountain village, where the mountain could be a volcanic mountain that's home to a red dragon who would be her father.
Okay.
So I haven't come up with a name for the mountain, for the name of the mountain yet, but I imagine she's from a village around that mountain. So I'm thinking like maybe around the outskirts of the nation state, perhaps.
Okay.
Like maybe there's a mountain that's kind of bordering this nation state and another, and she's like from this nation state, but like on the border.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. So how would you want to list that as origin-wise?
That's what I'm trying to figure out here. How about
Could
border
be
mountain?
like,
I mean, so yeah, we could do something like Draconic Mountains, or
something like that.
yeah, Mountainous Village. Keep it at least simple for this.
Yeah, mountain border, maybe mountain village on the border.
More specific too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next is going to be Shy. So Shy, I am kind of going to give you your origin here. Since
I think
you
I
are
already
the
know where it's going. Yeah.
heir of Denova, your origin is going to be the city-state of Denova. D-U-N-O-V-A.
D-U-N-O-V-A?
Yep, D-U-N-O-V-A.
Nova.
Excellent. And then Decaf. You want to just stick with the 7 C's for your origin?
I mean, that is my for sure joking
Whoop.
answer. If it is needed to clarify specifically where, I will be more than happy to.
Well, another option, if you do want it, is if your character is a rebel agent, if there's somebody who left those who they were formerly sort of bonded to or followed, there is the Empire of Alonia, who is a very dubious sort.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, so if you want to put origin, the Empire of Alonia, and that is spelled E-L-O-N-I-A.
Done.
And that brings us to Thread. So Thread, if you want it to be easy, you could just have your origin be from the moon again.
I can make it even easier. I noticed something here. The world where the prince comes from is called Denova. Nova being Spanish for star or like some sort of space planetary thing, even though it is just a mountain village. What if I'm from something like called De Luna, which is jokingly like I'm from the moon, but it's because Luna is moon in Spanish or Latin or whatever. So
Sure. Yeah, if you want to
just be from De Luna.
That sounds perfectly fine to me. All right. Excellent.
I could totally see like the moon being almost like a reflection of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This silver mirror.
There's Denova and Luna.
Well, step 4, sorry, is choosing your classes. Now, unlike most games where you start at level 1 and you have a single class, Fabula Ultima starts you at level 5, and you must have at least 2 classes when you begin play, but no more than 3. So, with that being the case, if everybody would like to click over to the Classes tab on their character sheet, I imagine that's what we'll be looking at. And you have to figure out how to set your character level.
Yeah, I can't seem to change that.
Interesting. Well, it looks like if you add a class... Yeah, okay, so I think if you add a class, it'll go from there. It'll apply levels, I think.
Ah, yep. You have to add a class, set a
Yep.
level to it, and the more classes you add, you can set more levels to those, and it looks like it'll probably just add all of them.
It's interesting because it's not letting me add the level on like a class, you know. It's grayed out.
Noticing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to play around with this a little bit, see how... well, actually, if you hit modify, does that let you...
It allows you to move it and delete it.
Lets you delete it and
I was
stuff.
just
Okay.
looking at that.
Okay.
Do we have the ability to edit our sheets a little more in-depthly, or no?
You should be able to, yes.
No.
Stats.
All that would entail, but...
Yeah. Alright, well, let's start. I'm just going to go over the classes. So, I'll just go by the names real quick. There is the Arcanist, the Chimerist, the Darkblade, Elementalist, Entropist, Fury, Guardian, Loremaster, Orator, Rogue, Sharpshooter, Spiritist, Tinkerer, Wayfarer, and Weapon Master.
Yeah, quite a few.
There is a solid list here. So Thread, I think we would be starting with you again, since you were the last person to choose an origin.
Yes. So, I was thinking, my brain was going to Tinkerer.
Okay.
I am trying to make sure I'm clear if it's Tinkerer or Arcanist or Elementalist. I think I may get them confused.
So Tinkerer crafts
Elementalist.
inventions and use inventory points in new ways. The Arcanist summons magical avatars of ancient godlike entities, which might fit very well for a Elder from the Moon. And the
Yep.
Elementalist wields the destructive power of the elements.
I definitely want destructive power. Now, is it because I summoned a god or because I summoned a wind?
Why not both?
Or both.
You have to pick at least 2 classes. This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have to pick multiple classes. I also, because I'm always lamenting that I don't have healing powers. Even though technically I do. Like as a paladin, we do. As a champion, a little less on the Pathfinder side. Healer was not one of the classes, it was one of the combinations towards the middle of the book where they were like, you could be this, this, and this.
I mean, I think the Arcanist does have some healing capabilities in its pool of spirits that it can summon.
I am. These are good questions. These are good statements.
Do you want me to come back?
Come back to me, please. Yes.
Okay. All right. Decaf, do you want to take a crack at it?
Yeah, I think I have some ideas in mind. I am admittedly going to say I love the concept of the Dark Blade right off the bat, so
It fits
really
for
wanna look at
somebody.
that.
So the Dark Blade unleashes dark attacks and draws power from their bonds. This allows you to equip martial melee weapons and armors. So the
So I
Dark
guess the
Blade.
question is, what does it give me? Let's see, Darkblade skills.
So you do permanently increase your max hit points by 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then the skills include options such as Agony, Dark Blood, Heart of Darkness, Painful Lesson, and Shadow Strike.
Wild.
You can get like each skill like per level to ensure that I understand this correctly.
Yeah, so the
Basically,
skills.
you can choose a skill with a level, or you can upgrade one of the skills if it has the capability of being upgraded with a level. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. So I'm just going to sort of show this to people real quick. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Keep in mind, page 160 is where the classes are listed. But so for the Dark Knight here, or the Dark Blade, so these are the Dark Blade skills. So the Agony, Dark Blood, Heart of Darkness, Painful Lesson, and Shadow Strike. Now you'll notice some of them have these little stars with numbers beside them. And so every time you gain a level in the Dark Blade class, you choose one of the skills. And those skills that have little stars beside them, you can choose that skill up to a number of times equal to the number beside the star. So you can have 5 levels of Agony, you can have 3 levels of Painful Lesson, and you can have 5 levels of Shadow Strike. And that comes into play based on this effect. So see, Agony says after you deal damage to one or more creatures, if you have a bond towards at least one of those creatures, you may recover your skill level times 2 hit points, and skill level times 2 mind points. And so if you've got 1 point of that, you'll recover 2 hit points and 2 mind points. If you got 2, it's 4 and 4, and so on and so forth.
Just a side note, I figured out how to increase your level on the Roll20 character sheet.
Excellent.
So what you do is you add your guild and you increase the level of the guild, and that will increase the level of your class, which increases your character level.
All right. Sounds good.
Interesting. Okay.
All right.
So
but you're
it sounds
starting with the Dark Blade class.
Yeah, and it sounds like they have some combination with magic to a certain extent. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe...
I will say, looking at it, one of their central things seems to be Heart of Darkness. Because these guys gain powers by forming bonds. And Heart of Darkness says, once per scene upon entering Crisis, you may choose a specific creature you can see that you don't have a bond towards. If you do, create a bond of hatred towards that creature.
That's funny. Let's see here. I don't know. I don't... So, for my reference of mine, I sit here and I think there's a storyline in, the Final Fantasy XIV game where you can play a Dark Knight, and a lot of them is kind of doing the same thing, where they rebel against the Holy See and become Dark Knights in favor of meting out justice for the common citizen. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on the abilities, though.
Yeah.
For a Dark Blade.
Okay.
So I might have to reconsider something else, but I do like the idea of probably being more martially based for this group. So maybe Guardian might be what I want to pick up instead.
So Guardian. Now the Guardian has a focus on protecting others. Proud and selfless Guardians are individuals who know the value of life and are willing to sacrifice themselves for a person, nation, or ideal they have sworn to protect. They are often extraordinary and impressive individuals, such as valiant soldiers or veterans scarred by 1,000 battles. While some Guardians may appear loud and boisterous, many are simply masking the tormented memory of those they failed to protect. So, as a Guardian, you permanently increase your max hit points by 5, and you gain the ability to equip martial armor and martial shields. You can also dual-wield shields. And hit people with them.
The nonsense. I love it. Okay. Then, yeah, you know what? It's not usually my go-to, but I think I will go ahead and lean into Guardian for this one. Let's check out their skills. What we got
so
today?
I'm going to bring this page over here so people can see what we're working with. So, the Guardian. So, the Guardian skills include Bodyguard. If you perform the guard action and choose to provide cover to another creature, That creature gains resistance to all damage types until the start of your next turn. You have Defensive Mastery. As long as you have a shield or a martial armor equipped, all damage you suffer is reduced by your skill level. There's the Dual Shield Bearer, which I was just talking about. As long as you have 2 shields equipped, you gain the benefits of both items, and may treat them as the following combined 2-handed melee brawling weapon. There is Fortress, which simply permanently increases your hit points by 3 for each level you have in the skill. And finally, there is Protect. When another creature is threatened by an attack, spell, or other danger, you may take their place. Any checks that are part of the danger will be performed against you. You may declare the use of this skill before or after the checks have been made. If the danger already affected you, it affects you twice. You can also cannot protect multiple creatures from the same danger.
Okay.
So,
All right.
it looks like you're starting.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and start here, and I'm going to pick up Fortress, exactly. And I'll continue to figure out how many more levels and skill increases I put into this, or I might dip around, but I think I'm going to start here for now and keep reading through these and debating.
Okay, you want me to move on to Shy then, while you're reading through it?
Yeah, feel free.
Alright, Shy, do you have an idea for what your first class as a free-spirited prince will be?
First class. Huh? Honestly, I'm like thinking about like what it is they would have trained in, what it is they would have had personal interest in, following like that theme as well of like the justice to help the weak.
Yeah.
Kind of got an idea of what I would probably go for. Let's take a look at Spiritist.
Ooh, okay. Spiritist. Alright, Troppist. Actually,
I'm over here just madly scrolling.
So there's a sharpshooter, Spiritist. Spiritists have developed a powerful connection with the raw aspects of soul, emotion, energy, life, and death. They wield power both miraculous and frightening, and are quite often affiliated with cults or religions. Several worlds see the powers of Spiritism as gifts from a deity or proof that a person's heart is pure. However, there is no definite proof of these abilities coming from anything but discipline, empathy, and focus. So, I mean, that could even be part of the reason why your family is royalty. Maybe, the first king or queen was chosen because of their abilities as a spiritist.
Very possible. Okay.
Alright, so the spiritist options are healing power to restore your allies, ritual spiritism, spiritual magic, which lets you gain a spiritual spell and can be taken up to 10 times, support magic, or Dismagus, which lets you spend health instead of your mind points.
Ooh.
To cast your spells.
Power. Whenever you cast a spell that targets one or more allies, if you have an arcane weapon equipped, you may have each of these allies recover an amount of HP equal to your
Skill
SL
level
multiplied by the number of bonds you have.
Yep.
Interesting. Honestly, yeah, I think I can do Spiritist right off the bat for the first level. I like the idea of having some healing power.
Okay. So you can have a level in Spiritist that's going to increase your mind points by +5, not your HP.
We'll
We'll
go ahead and
set
swap
that.
that in.
Yep.
I was going to say I can add it in on my end.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just
Spiritist,
moving around.
healing power, level 1. And then I'll just choose from there after the fact. But yeah, I think healing power for me with Spiritist will start me off.
Okay. And then you're kind of going to have to take spiritual magic, right? Or a different class to cast spells, because healing power only triggers when you cast a spell.
Yeah, I'm looking into that as I go.
Okay. So if you're still looking into that, why don't we go ahead and go...
Back to me.
Oh, Thread, you ready?
I was
Yep.
gonna say it sounded like we were doing like one level at a time per person, unless you want me to do more. Like
We can do one level at a time. I think that works out. All right, Thread. What are you feeling? You had a chance to look through stuff.
Yes. I do want to start with as an arcanist.
Okay.
Arcanist. Um, and my debate was if it was overkill to be both an arcanist and an elementalist too.
I
Like
don't
if
think
it's
so.
so that's where my brain is going. I was also thinking more on the ice side of things to really
Yeah.
fit that elderly curmudgeon. She's a 40-year-old baddie with lots of attitude
The
and it goes
cold of the moon,
crazy.
I feel like, also fits with that sort
Yes,
of idea.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
that's the vision.
the Animus is less of a traditional spellcaster, though I think they combine easily with other casting classes.
The elementalist or the
The Arcanist. Sorry. Did I
yes,
say
yeah,
Animist? I'm thinking Pathfinder.
yes, got you. Yep. So I think the two of them together will be
Can you tell
where I will go. We play Pathfinder? No.
All right. So you're going to go ahead and hit the add for your acquired classes.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going
And then
to
just type in.
Arcanist.
Mm-hmm. It's not searchable, right? It's just you type
Nope.
it.
I believe so.
Got you.
All right. For bonus, you're going to have +5 MP.
Yes, mind powers.
More MP.
She is an ice baddie. Okay.
And then you choose one skill. You can have
So is
Arcane
it-
Circle. You can have Arcane Regeneration, Bind and Summon, which is kind of the core class feature of the Arcanist.
Mhm.
You can have Emergency Arcanum, or you can have Ritual Arcanism.
Rituals sound tough. If
So the Bind and
what's the one
Summon.
with the circle?
Bind and Summon is the one that lets you actually have a Arcana to summon, or an Arcana to summon.
Yes, because I wanted that combination of I either shoot ice from my paws or
Yep.
hands, and then I can also summon something icy.
So
Maybe like that
Shiva
the ice
from
monster
Final
from
Fantasy.
Hercules.
Oh yeah,
Or
the Titan.
that, or I was thinking Hercules, like the one of the Titans, and he's like, freeze them. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Look.
So bind and summon. You may bind Arcana to your soul and summon them later. The Game Master will tell you the details of each binding process when you first encounter the Arcanum in question. You may use an action and spend 40 mind points to summon Arcanum you have bound. The details of this process are explained on the next page. If you take this skill at character creation, you begin to play with one Arcanum of your choice already bound to you, chosen from the list on the next pages. Other than that, you may only obtain new Arcana through exploration and story progression, which is kind of cool.
That's cool too. So I'm guessing Arcanum of the Frost, or should
Yeah, if that's what you want to go, because Arcanum of the Frost says you have resistance to ice damage and are immune to enraged, and any ice damage you deal ignores resistance.
Yeah.
And you can dismiss your Arcanum to deal 30 ice damage to all enemies you can see.
Yes. Now, is it permanently dismissed?
Nope, but you would have to summon it again, which costs the 40 points again.
Got you.
All right.
Is this under skills too, or is there?
So yeah, this should be skills. Put bind and summon.
Yep. And then on the next line, am I putting Arcanum of the Frost?
Yeah. If you want to put the details for that, I think that's a good place to put it.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
And then next round we'll talk elements.
You might be able to put it under magic as well, under rituals.
Oh, true. We'll have to look into that.
Mm-hmm.
But that brings us back to Vorthus.
Yep.
So we're looking at classes for you.
Yep, I've pretty much already determined what my 3 classes are.
Well, we're just going level 1. We're going one by one.
One by one, so let's say first level is going to be in sharpshooter. Make perfect sense for a gunslinger.
Yeah, absolutely. Sharpshooter.
And in ranged weapon master. You just gain a bonus equal to the skill level in that skill to all accuracy checks with ranged weapons.
Yep, and this says you permanently increase your max hit points by 5 and gain the ability to equip martial ranged weapons and martial shields.
Yep.
And then, yep, you got that ranged weapon. So yeah, very nice. So you just have a nice little +1 on all your weapons, all your ranged attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Decaf, we kind of started with you here. You want we good to go back to you?
Yeah, I mean, I can actually just cover levels 2 and 3. I think I've settled on what I am building, which is kind of a standard Final Fantasy Dragoon. I'm actually adding Elementalist for a couple of levels to pick up elemental magic, specifically so that I can know wind spells, and I'm picking up Soaring Strike so that I can catch enemies at a distance. And I'm going to pick up Vortex so that I can give myself a +2 bonus to my defense against ranged attacks. But I think I plan on being a armored up spear wielder.
Okay. So you've
Officially.
got two levels in Elementalist.
Yep, 2 levels in Elementalist, and one so far in Guardian.
Okay, excellent. Shy. So what? So you have healing power from the Spiritist.
Yeah. So, plot twist. I was thinking Elementalist as well for when that does happen.
Listen here, you son of a...
I was Elementalist as well.
I'll get to that. I'll get to that later.
It's
Right
valid
now, I
for
need to
you.
make sure I can actually continue doing my healing. Because I can't benefit from like that healing power skill unless
You have healing
I have
spells.
something that targets
yeah.
allies. That's to target
Yep.
my allies, which is something I have to take into account. So Spiritist, down to there real fast.
Yeah,
I would say my next 2 levels would probably be spiritual magic.
Okay. So each time you pick that, you get 1 spell from the Spiritist.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have 2 of those, and I would say I'd be looking at straight up heal. Shocking.
There you go. Yeah, up to 3 creatures. Each target recovers 40 hit points. Oh my gosh. But it does cost 10 per target. 10 magic points per target.
So there is that. And then otherwise...
There's Reinforce to make them immune to stuff. There's Soul Weapon. You imbue a weapon with the cleansing energy of your spirit. Let's see.
There's a part of me that wonders if like my next 4 of my 5 levels are all in Spiritist.
There is also Barrier.
Matter of fact, I think 4 of my 5 are all in Spiritist, and I think 3 of the levels are just for spells.
Ooh, okay.
Because there's I want heal.
Yeah.
I like the idea. Those first 4 spells on the list are all such good buffs, and it hurts.
Yeah, Awaken is pretty strong. Giving you a higher die size on your ability score.
Barrier and Aura both give defense or magic defense basically equal to 12.
Yep.
Cleanse, removing status effects. I don't know, it's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with Cleanse.
So, sorry, you said heal, cleanse. And what else do you want to go for?
We'll go with Aura.
Aura, okay. Alright, so Spiritist level 4. Alright, if you want to get those all entered in, I think we're swinging back around.
I'm choosing Barrier instead of Aura. I'm going to be smart about
Okay.
this. But
Okay.
continue on.
We'll swing back around to Thread.
Hello. All right. So, I too. Yes. We're
Okay,
binding. We're
so-
summoning.
Yep, we should
How
have
many
that
levels?
have that at level 1.
Yeah.
So now, if you want to just tell me your second level, or if you have a couple planned like those two just did, you can do that instead. My plan was just to go one by one, but whichever works for you.
That is great. So my brain, so here's some of the options here. I could either do 2 Arcanus, 2 Elements, 1 Fury, or I could do like 3 Arc. Well, I don't even know. Can I like call the same? Can I have more than one in Arcanus? Like,
You can have more levels in Archimist, but you can't take any more in Bind and Summon. You can only find more Arcanum, as it says, through story progression and gameplay.
got it. So I can't start with it. Is the issue?
Yep, you can only start with
more.
one Arcanum, which is your
Gotcha.
Arcanum of the Frost.
Got it. But skills. In other words, what's making the level 5? Is it like 5 skills?
Yep.
From
each
from
of
a different class.
Yes. Well, not
So
mixed from your classes. Yeah.
Got it.
And you can have either 2 or 3 classes, essentially.
Yes. Clear on the classes. I guess how I'm trying to figure out is how much do I allocate to Arcanist and how much do I allocate to Elementalist?
That is up to you.
Okay. In other words, if I go another level on Arcanist, it still has to be Bind and Summon, but it's now a level 2 of that. Is that what we're saying?
You would choose a different Arcanist skill. So now you could choose
it.
Arcane Circle, which says after you rolling dismiss an Arcana on your turn during a conflict, if that Arcanum had not been summoned during the same turn, and you have an Arcane weapon equipped, you can immediately perform the spell action for free.
Yes. Where do I get the Arcane weapon? Is that like I have to be a different class?
That's an equipment.
Okay. So I can have weapon. Yay.
Yep.
So I want to say what might be useful is for the second level having the emergency Arcanum.
Oh, okay.
Like
it reduces the cost of summoning your Arcanum. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll do that.
So you have multiple levels in that. Do you just want one, or do you want more?
Of
the emergency Arcanum. So for each level for each point you put into emergency Arcanum, you reduce the cost of summoning your Arcanum when you're in crisis by 5.
Got you.
So if you take 2 more levels in Arcanist, and maybe you only want to take 1 more level because you want to be able to take those the Elementalist stuff.
Yeah. I think I want to be able to take the Elementalist stuff. Let's go through the Elementalist stuff, and I could determine if I could go back.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So we'll put your second level into the Elementalist, and so we'll flip over to look at those. So the Elementalist.
Right now.
So what you're going to do?
Magic Artillery.
Is you're going to add another class. So click the Add button on your character sheet.
Yep.
And you're going to put Elementalist.
Yep. There.
Okay. Ain't popping up for me yet, but there it is. Alright, and the Elementalist is another one of those that gives you 5 magic points. So we're going to set that. Gotcha. Yep, perfect. And now, so the Elementalist, what you'll probably want, starting off, is Elemental Magic, so that you actually have your elemental spells.
Gotcha. Does that make sense?
And so, options include stuff like Elemental Weapon. All damage dealt by the weapon becomes of the chosen damage type when you do this. If you want to stick with your ice stuff, there is Glacies. You coat your foes under a thick layer of frost. Each target hit by this spell suffers high roll plus 15 ice damage.
Yeah.
There's also Iceberg, a pillar of
Iceberg.
ice. Yep. Deals high roll
Let's
plus
see.
25 ice damage.
Got you. I think I'm gonna do Glacies.
That seems like a good start.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for the Elementalist, for your skills, put Elemental Magic and set its level to 1.
Alright. Got you. Here we go.
And then the spells, there's a tab for spells, and they'll be added under that. Or there's a
Got
tab
it.
for magic, and they'll be added under that.
Alright. So
Yeah, that's what I'm
here we
going
go.
through right now.
So while
Getting all
you
that added.
look at that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna swap over to Vorthis here. And Vorthis, people are jumping a little bit ahead. Tell me however much you want to tell me.
Okay. I'll just do two levels for you.
Sure.
So let's just say the next two levels. The first one is I am gonna go Elementalist, but I'm only dipping one level in. Okay.
Is everybody going to be an Elementalist? That would be
think
kind of
so.
hilarious.
It is.
I think that's
However,
what's
I
gonna
have a
happen.
very good reason for mine.
Uh-huh.
Remember, I'm a half dragon,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna take Elemental Magic, Ignis. I'm gonna rename that Dragon Breath. This is my Fire Breath,
Okay.
which I've already added. I've renamed it, reflavored it, but it
Yep.
works identically to Ignis.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
like, at the only level I plan to go into Elementalist, it's mostly there more for flavor, get that Dragon Breath going, you know?
All right. That works for me. That's fine by me.
Yep.
Perfect. Do we want to? So you say you wanted to cover 2 levels or just your second level?
It's gonna be 2 levels, because I want to the second level or third level, I guess, is I'm gonna put 1 level in Rogue.
Oh, you're taking a 3rd class.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Uh,
Okay.
Which is interesting because Gunslinger says it's more Sharpshooter and Tinkerer, but I don't envision Claire as that much of a Tinkerer so
Mhm.
much. But when I was looking through the Rogue stuff, I thought some of the stuff is really suited for how she fights. And specifically, I wanted to pick up Cheap Shot.
You hit a creature with an attack. If the attack only targeted that creature and they are suffering from 1 or more status effects, you may have it deal extra damage equal to the skill level plus the number of status effects on the creature. Very nice. Gives you a small little bonus.
Yeah, basically. And one thing about Dragon Breath or Ignis is, I believe under Opportunity, we'd have to look up exactly what that means. The creatures that I have damage with it become shaken, which is a status effect.
Yeah, okay, very cool. Well, alright. So why don't we swing back around to Decaf. Decaf, it looks like you've chosen all of your levels. Feel free to go into however many you want.
Yeah. So I actually am also going to be doing 3 classes in total. So from the Guardian, giving me extra HP with Fortress, and Elementalist giving me a couple of wind spells, I'm also going into Weapon Master for some additional HP, as well as I'm picking up specifically Blade Storm and Melee Weapon Mastery, so that I can try to ensure that I hit and
Okay.
hit multiple targets, it sounds like.
Okay, gain the ability to equip martial weapons and martial shields. When you perform a melee attack, you may spend mind points to choose one of the options. It gains multi 2, or you increase the attack's multi-property by 1 up to a maximum of 3. Very cool.
Yeah. But that's
you
pretty much
pick-
everything for the classes.
Okay. So yeah, you're a little bit tankier, but you actually end up having a focus on fighting more than you do
I do.
defense.
I do. Mm-hmm.
Well, Shy, that brings us back to you. You only had to get 1 more level. And it has to be in a new class.
Indeed. And I'm okay with this. So, funny enough, I am indeed sticking with what I was planning. And I'm
Elementalist?
Elementalist. So
Okay.
I feel like it would have just been part of his stuff that he learned.
Sure.
Casting spells and stuff. And I think he would have gotten... where is it? Elemental magic as well.
Okay. So far we have wind, fire, and ice.
Specifically get Fulgur.
For electricity, for lightning. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so everybody's got their own thing going on. Everybody's got their own sort of elementals.
Yeah.
And together we become the Avatar.
I do. Hold on.
Oh, okay. What are you thinking?
Would do that.
Oh, you're barely on mic.
Sorry, my bad. I could do. I think actually, Hooker sounds cool and all. I'm gonna do elemental weapon.
Okay. Give you a little bit more of a general sort of option. Or
More
one that you
general,
can
yeah.
share with your allies. Yeah.
Correct.
Excellent. Okay. Well then, Thread. We're back to you looking at classes, looking at level 3, unless you want to do a couple classes at this one.
Third class. We'll probably have to do a couple classes because it looks like everyone else is at their 5. I did want to add Fury as my third class.
Okay.
Specifically so I could have adrenaline skill.
Okay. So you're going to add class again. You're going to add the Fury.
Mm-hmm.
And oops, that's the Entropist. So the Fury is sort of this game's version of the Berserker, the Brawler, the Viking, however you want to call it. This permanently increases your hit points by 5s, gives you ability to equip martial melee weapons and martial armor, and has its own set of skills.
Yes. So I was thinking adrenaline. I was debating between adrenaline and the Abominable Spirit, but right now we're just gonna start with adrenaline.
Adrenaline. As long as you are in crisis, you deal 2 extra damage with attacks, spells, arcana items, or any other method.
Yeah.
Alright, so when you're low on health, you deal more. Very cool.
Yes.
And so go ahead and enter that for your skill and set it to level 1.
Yep.
Now, that leaves you with 2 levels remaining. You can't take any more classes.
Correct.
Now, do you want...
Arcanum of the Frost needed to go under description of Bind and Summon. Is that how that worked?
Yeah. We can clean up the sheets later.
We'll clean up the sheets later. Second piece, Elementalist. I want weapons.
Okay. Well...
So...
that does come up later if it helps.
Yeah, if I could point an option out to you that I think would be cool and kind of fit with your character... if you go for the Arcanist, the Arcane Circle ability that you were originally looking at. After you willingly dismiss an Arcana on your turn during a conflict, which you can do to like deal like that's the 30 ice damage to enemies you can see.
Yes.
If you have an arcane weapon equipped, you can then immediately cast a spell for free. The spell you cast this way must have a total mind point cost of skill level times 5 or lower. So, just as a thought, if you get 2 levels in Arcane Circle, you could cast Glacies on the same turn, targeting 1 creature, on the same turn that you dismiss your Arcana.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's something you want to do, but that is something I noticed in your building.
And that would be on top of the Arcanum dismissing ice and doing damage when you dismiss it.
Yes, it would.
Yes. I'm down with this. I think where I'm still lost is to have a weapon. You said that's more equipment, not
correct
skill selecting.
Yep.
So I don't have to worry about like having to have selected a weapon skill to be able to weapon.
No, because everybody's trained, and actually you're trained in martial weapons, so you'll be fine.
Yeah,
everyone's got basic weapons.
Yeah, but everybody has basic weapons,
basic armor
and you took Fury, so you've got martial weapons as well.
Yay, I want to throw things. And hit things. So we're going to do level 2 with that, is what we're saying?
Arcane Circle, level 2. And I'll just go ahead.
And then
copy.
And then 1 level of Glacies, or should I have 2 levels of Glacies? Did I make a mistake?
Well, you would only have that would be all your levels for the time being.
Got it. So one set of glacies is fine because it's like hit 3.
Yep.
I also
Yeah.
that is a wild word. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
Okay.
um,
Well, that covers classes for everybody. But Vorthis, while you have chosen 5, you have not told us all 5 classes. So you want
Oh,
to
levels,
round us
yeah.
out here?
Yeah, so my last 2 levels are both back in sharpshooter,
Okay.
and I am taking barrage. And the reason I'm taking barrage here is, and I'm doing this specifically because I don't necessarily want to do the 2-weapon fighting. So barrage is kind of like my way of doing 2-weapon fighting without doing 2-weapon fighting. If that makes sense. I can spend mind point to have the attack game multi-2.
Yep.
Because in my vision, Claire dual wield her weapons. So that's kind of like how I'm gonna depict that.
Yeah.
And then, and this is something to kind of combo with cheap shot. I'm gonna take 1 shot.
I mean, that even combos with barrage.
Yeah,
That is a deadly combination.
yeah.
I mean, if it helps too, Vorthis, I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but they do have rules encompassing dual wielding.
I know. I read it. I read them, and I wasn't. I believe when you dual wield, it's like the second attack, you don't get the high roll to your damage.
Yeah, the high roll counts as 0.
Yeah, so that's really the reason why I'm going with barrage for the dual wielding part.
Well,
Gotcha.
excellent. I think that is all the classes chosen. Now, we will be doing some cleaning up of the sheets. I can handle that on my end, or we can just do it like in between sessions. But I think now what we're doing is we are going to look at the base die size of your attributes. So if everybody could turn their pages to stats, I think is what they should be under. Yep, perfect. So choose one of the following profiles for your hero, then distribute the corresponding die sizes among their 4 attributes. On your character sheet, these should be written in the base size column. So your characters could be a jack of all trades and have a D8 in every single stat. They could be average, having a D10 in one stat, D8 in 2 other stats, and a D6 in their 4th stat. Or they could be specialized, having a D10 in 2 stats and a D6 in the remaining 2 attributes. Now, since all of you went Elementalist, using your elemental magic, if you're using offensive spells, you use Inspiration and Willpower for the check.
But you do also have might
Insight,
and dex
yeah.
that get brought in for physical weapons as well.
Yep.
And ranged weapons, I believe, typically use insight and dexterity.
Correct. Yeah, I can scroll down and look at weapons here, and I can let you guys know what generally they use.
Yeah, something to add, even for someone like myself, it does recommend getting a weapon. Because there are weapons catered to being just a caster.
Yep.
There are weapons for everyone, is kind of the concept.
Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, when you get the weapon, there is something I need to talk to you maybe about, because it might require some GM permission.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see
It's
if I
mostly
can give it to you.
It involved having a rare weapon, but I technically have the money for it. So
Okay. So, but yeah, who wants to go first here? Who's got their stuff figured out?
Gives me MP. I don't find that.
Determining stats and stuff. Let me see.
Willpower gives me MP.
Yeah.
Well, I guess since I'm already here, I can kick us off. How's that?
Sure.
Bare minimum, I don't know what stat array I want, but I do know I want my willpower to be a D10.
Okay.
That
So that
limits me
takes
to
you
2,
out of the
yeah.
running for Jack of all trades.
Now, I could do D10s and D6s, or I could do one of these as a D6 instead. Which
Okay.
No, the idea of being just fully min-max is hysterical to me, because that's perfect for JRPG. What else do you do? So I think I'm gonna do exactly that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and go specialized.
Okay, so you get 2 d10s and 2 d6s to assign to your ability points. So you're gonna neglect your physical ability to focus on your insight and willpower.
Yeah.
All right, very cool.
I'm not a physically trained prince.
That much is clear. Okay.
End all result. I have chosen specialized. My dex and my might are both a d6.
Okay.
Insight and my willpower are d10.
And it looks like it's
Officially.
already calculated your numbers there. You have a maximum of 35 hit points and a maximum of 65 magic points.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. And just for our viewers, your maximum hit points are equal to your total character level plus 5 times your character's base might die size. So might die size is a 6 for Shy, times his times 5 would be 30, plus 5 levels, so 35. And your mind points is equal to your total character level plus 5 times your character's base willpower die size. So that would be 50 with a 55, but his 2 classes both gave him a plus 5 to his mind power, getting him up to a 65.
And they do stack, which is nice.
Yeah. Who wants to go next? Just don't everybody volunteer at once.
I could. Let's do it.
All right, Thread. What are we thinking?
Hello. We're having an internal debate, as always. But
Okay.
I was either debating between being jack of all trades or beefing up willpower at the expense of dexterity. Not sure, though, if that would help with the fury piece. Or if beefing up willpower actually helps with all the other magic stuff.
So yeah, willpower is going to affect your casting capabilities, but you're also going to use insight to fight with, to cast your spells with. Now, looking at weapons, let me see. So arcane weapons have 2 options. You have a staff, which uses willpower and willpower to fight with, or you can have a tome, which uses insight and insight to fight with.
I think I'll be doing staff.
Okay. So yeah, do you want to be specialized, or do you want to be more average and have a D10 willpower?
I was thinking, so if I reduce dexterity, what's going to happen to me? Because I'm sure if I bump up a willpower to D10, one of them has to go down. Correct?
Well, yeah. So your defense is your base die size. So defense is your dexterity die size, and magic defense is your insight die size, I believe.
So if I lower my dexterity, my HP is going to go down. Is that what we're saying?
Your AC goes down, essentially.
AC, got it. Choices. I think what I will do is do the willpower as D10 and take dexterity. Because
D6?
then, because the idea is if I'm low on hit points because my AC is lower, that's when the rage kicks in.
Right, okay. Yeah. You can activate your crisis easier.
Yes.
Okay.
So here we are.
Well, that still puts you with a 50 hit point max and a 65 MP max.
I love that for me.
Yeah, so it seems you're still pretty solid. Vorthis or Decaf, which of you wants to go next?
I could go next.
Sure, let's bring it. All right, Vorthis.
Yep,
So
I'm going
I pulled
average.
up firearms. The pistol at the very least is Dex plus Insight to attack with.
Correct. Correct. I do want to call your attention to the revolver firearm, which is basically the same except it is deck plus deck instead of deck plus insight.
What page?
Page 274.
Alright, rare firearms, revolver, 300 Zenny, Dex plus Dex.
It's basically
Well-
the same as pistol and everything except its accuracy check.
Yeah.
And
Damage is a little bit higher, looks like.
no, damage is the same. HR plus 8.
Yeah, but you're rolling your higher die.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, you know what? If you spend the Zenny on it, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, because it's only 50 anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I already pre-calculated everything. Like I had like 150 Jenny over with the pistol, so I could just have 100 left over for the revolver.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted
So-
to call your attention to it.
So you're going, what is that? The
Average.
balanced?
Yeah, the
Yep.
average, and this is more of a flavor thing. So willpower is going to be my low one because I'm not really intending to use my Dragon Breath all that much. That's really a flavor ability.
Okay.
So I'm going dexterity is a D10, insight and might are both D8, and willpower is D6.
Okay. Excellent. Well, that was nice and quick and easy, so let's go ahead and talk to Decaf here. Decaf, it looks
Yeah.
like you have also picked out your numbers.
Yep, I am going with the average build. I'm actually going to put my D10 into might. I am going to spread out my D8s to willpower and dexterity, and I will let insight suffer with the D6.
Okay.
Since my spell casting, while relying on it, they're both self-aiming spells.
Perfect. Well, excellent. That was pretty nice and easy. So normally the next step would be calculating our numbers and everything, but those have been done for us. So, for example, Decaf's character has a juicy 65 HP, followed by 50 with Threat and Vorthis, and then Shy coming in at a 35.
I am Squish.
Classic Shy character.
Yes,
Um,
squish, but in the front.
Actually, it kind of is.
Squish, but in the
Oh my
front.
goodness.
I'm just thinking of
Yeah.
your psychic.
You have. Yeah, well, so BB, you're thinking of my psychic. Fred has another character that they're thinking of, which is my wizard. And yeah, both of these characters are notorious for going right up front with no HP.
With no whatsoever.
Being a menace.
So most of you
Being
have
a menace.
6 inventory points. However, Vorthis with the rogue archetype got 2 more, and so has 8 inventory points. Your defenses, as I mentioned, your defense is equal to your current dexterity die size, your magic defense is equal to your current insight die size, and then your initiative modifier is equal to 0 to start with.
So people are aware, don't forget to actually set your current HP, MP, and current IP as your max listed, but it put all of us at 0.
Ah, yeah, make sure you
you
do
might
that.
want that.
Very good point. Very good point. So that brings us to the final step in, at least like the basics here, of picking your gear, of buying your gear. So this is like the last real like mechanically intensive stuff. For those looking at on their pages, the basic weapons start on page 166, and all of you have 500 Zenit to spend. So we can move to the equipment section of everybody's character sheet. Looks like most of us are there. Just gonna bring you along real quick thread. Alright, so make sure people have checked off. So threat as a Fury, you are trained in martial armor. Or actually, sorry, only martial melee weapons and martial armor. Decaf, you got martial armor, martial shields, and martial melee weapons. Shy, you have none of that. And Vorthus has martial shields and martial ranged weapons. So, as I said, you guys will have 500 Zenit. Let's see, is there a place to put that on here? I'm not seeing a place just to like put your money.
Backpack.
Oh,
It's in backpack.
yep, backpack.
Yeah, that's
That
annoying.
makes sense.
Alright, so yeah, put 500 there for now. And we're just going to go through. We can buy gear real quick, because I think it's at least interesting to see how you guys are kitting your characters out. So we're going to stick with basic weapons, unless you guys can give me a reason why you'd be buying off of the like rare weapon lists. So Vorthus, since you already did so,
Yep.
how did this bumpkin from the Dragon Mountains, who's always angry at the world, get her hands on a pistol? Get her hands on a revolver?
I would think there could be like a traveling salesperson who like traveled the nation peddling wares, and one of them could have had like a revolver, like maybe a really old one, but she was like really enamored with it. So when she bought it and like started maintaining it and cleaning it up, so it's her favorite weapon.
Mind you, diplomacy check against me for that.
I mean, you don't have to look at all the player. I usually depict her with revolvers anyway.
Yeah, it's a little tenuous as a reason for me. If we can work on something like
Yeah,
to
I have
have
no
like
problem.
have more of a story as to how she got it, I would be more amenable to it.
Sure, I have no problem working on that.
I'm willing
more
to
detail.
work with if the fact that these three have been are currently accompanying the prince for whatever reason that is. They have decided to give them more access to things. Maybe that'd be the reason.
Maybe.
Helping keep said dumb prince alive. I don't know.
Okay, we can think about that. We can think about that.
Mhm.
So Shy or Vorthus, you got your revolver. Does anybody else know what they're picking up, equipment-wise? Now, I think it is worth
I've got
noting
one.
that this Zenny, you obviously what you don't spend here, you get to keep, but you also just roll for initial savings.
Yeah, so you get like initial
Yeah.
savings rolled, and then you add any that you were left over.
Yep.
Right.
All right. So Shy, you said you had something. What are we thinking? What
Yeah.
you take an arcane weapon?
I mean, preferably, yeah.
Okay.
If you take a look at my equipment page, you should actually see one already put in. I have decided I am going to start with, shockingly, a tome.
A tome. Okay. Now, the misfortune here is that both the arcane weapons are melee weapons. So, this means that when you fight with your tome, you're not just like shooting spells or something like that out of it. You are smacking somebody with a big book.
I'm going to call that a little bit differently. I think it's more within melee range is the idea.
Yeah, but I mean, you're at least not
'cause-
like shooting spells across the battlefield from it.
No, it's definitely not across the battlefield, but it's like it's definitely it's enough so that like I might not be hitting. I doubt I'd be rolling insight plus insight for accuracy. Hit them
Maybe.
physically with the book, although that'd be funnier than all get out. Not gonna lie, especially knowing how squishy I am and how much muscle is not there. I definitely imagine it's more just like basic spells that really don't reach all that far. They're just kind of like right there in your face. So
Maybe.
I'm kind of up in the fray.
Mhm. It's
Alright,
giving
but-
Hocus Pocus and the book. Wookie, like how they hold the book and then they have the power.
But that is gonna cost you 100 Zenit easy purchase for you. Who wants to go
And-
next?
Oh.
Or sorry, did you have other stuff that you already wanted to get in mind?
I was
sure, go for it.
going to shoot for the silk shirt as armor.
The silk shirt, it doesn't increase your basic defense, but it does increase your magic defense by 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your insight die plus 2, but it does put a minus 1 to your initiative.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
Technically, the tome takes up both of my hand slots.
Yep.
Because it's a two-handed, so
Yeah.
I don't even think I can. I mean,
That's a big book.
here. I think it's more the idea. I mean, it probably is. It is a tome, but at the same time, I imagine you're like, I think like Fire Emblem animations where they pull magic with one hand out of the book. It.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you got to keep like one hand
It's
just to
just
keep the
taking
book
both
balanced in
hands.
your grip or something. Definitely.
Exactly. You got to have one hand to hold the book and have it like balanced open. The other hand's pulling magic out of it.
Yeah. Well, all right. So are you just going to have 300 Zenit in your savings?
I don't know what else to get is the problem.
Yeah. Because a lot of
You know,
stuff
like,
is actually like the elixirs, the remedies, that all comes from just spending
Your
inventory
inventory.
points. Yeah, you don't really
Yeah.
buy them. So, yeah. No, it's not sure what else you can get. But so you've got 300 Zenit, and you know what? While we're here, while we're talking, why don't we just go ahead and roll for your savings? So it's going to be
Spare armors and shields.
Yeah,
it's
that's
going
what
to
I did.
be yeah. If you want to get spare stuff, I guess you could.
Would there be a reason for that?
I don't know. I mean, unless you want to be like, all right,
Can I get a wand?
do you want to just have a wand on hand?
Just like, is that a thing?
I don't think so.
Why not? Where's my arcane wand with one-handed and like
That might
insight
be
plus insight
like,
or willpower plus willpower, HR plus 2? Like,
well, you know
where's
what?
that?
Here, let's look at the rare stuff.
Yeah, there's not a wand in the rare stuff, but there is a wand in the wild and artifact.
So there is a blessed mace, which is willpower plus willpower, costs 200 Zenit, is one-handed, and deals light damage. If you want a book, there's either the
I'd be
encyclopedia.
okay with a mace. You said insight? Or willpower?
No, the mace is willpower.
Who am I kidding? They're both D10.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And that is the only one you would be able to afford, because the others are 600 Zenit or higher.
Jeez. That's a blessed mace sounds fun though. That also sounds like something that would maybe be given.
To a prince? Yeah, I can see it. Or maybe you snuck it out.
And other that also sounds like something he would do.
Yeah.
Like left whoever's shop it was, he like left the Zenit on the table and made sure they had it, but he definitely just fled with it. So that they didn't know it was him.
Yeah. Yeah, if you wanna
You
have
know
the blessed
I'll do
mace, we could
that.
do that. So that's gonna be 200
if you
Zenit.
don't mind. Then I'll also grab a bronze shield that he can put in his offhand.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll just have
Mainly with
to
that Zenit.
you can add weapons, so you'll have to do it that way.
Yeah. But that's perfect. I can do that easy.
Yep, and so the blessed mace is on page 270.
70. Thank you.
Yep, so if you want to do that, we will move on to the next character. Who, Decaf, Thread, which one of you wants to talk about your character next?
I have spent all of my money.
Excellent. We will go to you then.
All right, because it totals to 500 total. I have a light spear because my defenses with my insight being a little lower means I might want to bump that up a little. So the light spear cost me 200 Zenit. I've got a runic shield that I have on my offhand, which costs 150, and then I'm armoring myself up with a Brigandine for another 150 zenith. So that puts me completely out. But that shores up some defensive issues that might be addressed in the future.
Let's go take a look at your stats here. So you've got a -2 to initiative, but oh my gosh, you got a 20 defense?
Yeah.
Is that really what the Brigandine... Oh, there might be a slight misunderstanding.
Sure.
For the Brigandine, I don't think it should be +10. I think it should just be flat 10.
Okay.
And it might even have to be written as +2, because it doesn't add to your die size, it replaces it.
Oh yeah, the martial armor is just straight up replaced
okay.
so that you don't have to rely on your dex.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yes. And let's see, 14 magic defense, which is because you have... That seems high. Oh, and yeah, I think it's adding your insight die because you have that in equipment. I think it's adding your insight die twice.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I
can
think if
just
you
remove
just
like the
leave,
plus sign.
I think if you just leave that blank,
This altogether.
the bonus magic, if you leave the bonus magic defense blank, and try putting the +2 in the bonus defense, and we'll see how that works out.
+2 over here, just the flat. Okay. All right. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so yeah, your magic defense should be 8, and your defense should be 12.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Hey, as long as it's right.
And that is all of your money, right?
Yeah, that's everything.
All right, well then why don't you go ahead and roll me
Knowing-
2d6.
This with you.
All right, so you have
Right.
90 zenith left. You have 90 zenith in
Beautiful.
savings.
Love it.
Hey.
I'll take
And
it.
same for Shy. All right, Thread, have you been flipping
Yeah.
through the weapon options and
Yes.
stuff? Excellent.
Yes, and everything's so pricey
It
unless I
is.
want a cat paw. The Nikode. It's like a cat paw. I think I was trying to see if there was something else I could have in addition to the staff. Because of course the staff.
Yeah,
made
unfortunately the
most
staff
sense.
is two-handed.
Yep, exactly. So I would use the staff. Too bad one couldn't put like a blade on the other end or something. That would be so lit. But that makes sense. Yeah, it's just the staff.
Okay.
I didn't know if like I needed like a backup blade if the staff was dropped or something. So
I don't
that's
think
what I
that's-
was looking into.
I don't think that's a huge part of the game.
Got you. Then that sounds good.
Okay. So there's the
and-
weapon for you.
And then my armor didn't seem very appealing because everything made my initiative go down.
Yeah, the
Like, I was
one
looking at the
exception.
screen.
The one exception is the combat tunic, which gives you a +1 on your defense and magic defense. Let's take a look
Okay,
at those for you. You've got a 6 and an 8 there.
If it helps you,
Oh.
Thread,
Yes.
initiative is different than it is in like Pathfinder and D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Initiative works more like a side gets the initiative, so like enemies versus the heroes kind of deal.
Yep.
Whoever gets the initiative, they act first with the first turn, and it goes back and forth between the two,
Sides.
back and forth. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
not
it's
like
kind of like
your
Lantern.
initiative is going to choose when you go necessarily. It just more helps decide which side goes first,
Yep.
and then it alternates.
One of your team just needs to roll the highest.
Got you.
Kind of
Yeah,
That
idea.
makes sense.
Yeah, that reminds me a lot of how Lantern does it.
Got you.
So I don't know, maybe you want to
I
like
was-
sage robes, or
I
You
was
can also
looking at the
wear-
sage robe.
you can also wear martial armor, so you can wear the armors with the little red stars next to them.
Yep. Remind me of the page. I had lost the page, so
The
I was
armors
trying
are
to
on
get back
page
to-
168.
Thank you. As I had went to 270 and then lost my
And
place.
That's
also,
yeah, that's the rare
132.
armor. and stuff.
Yeah,
pretty cool
I was
paperback.
looking at the rare stuff first in case I wanted a backup knife. But since that's not mechanics here, backup magic star. Here we go. Armor. I am looking at.
I mean, if you can't wield a robe, or if you can't wield a weapon in your other hand, the sage robe might not be a bad option.
That's what I was thinking too. I just didn't know if it was silly to add that initiative hit to me.
I think you're perfectly fine doing that.
Okay. And then explain the dex die defense for me, please.
So, if we look at your stats, your defense is 6. And that is because your dexterity uses a d6.
Yes, clear.
So it's the base die, and then the Sage Robe says dex die +1. So your defense will be 7 while you're wearing it. And your magic defense will be 10.
Ooh. You know what? A shady lady needs a shady robe, so
Okay.
yeah, let's do it. Sage robe.
Going for
And
Sage
then I'll
Robe.
roll. So then I'll have 200 left.
You would have 200 left if you did want to spend it on anything else.
No, I think since I can't have a sexy backup axe or
You could.
thoughtful backup dagger. No, I would rather collect it.
I mean, you're Fury. You could totally have something like an iron hammer or a greatsword or something like that.
I thought about that too. Iron hammer, is that regular or special?
These are all regular weapons I'm reading right now. Yeah, the heavy weapons are all might plus might, which would be a d8 for you.
Yeah, good thing I didn't take that away. Is my backpack going to be too full? Am I going to be hit with a heavy condition?
We're not. No.
Okay.
Now, the only heavy weapon you could afford is the iron hammer. Because that's 200. Exactly.
Yes, I think I do want the backup iron hammer, please.
Okay.
Let's spend all my money, and then my savings.
This is what you made mochi with on the moon.
Yes. The moon, yes, in theory. But technically that was just a mountain, maybe a couple miles from Genova. So, all right, and then we're rolling 2d6.
Yep.
All right. 6. Nope, gotta put it before.
Yep.
All right. There we go.
All right, so you're going to have 60 starting Zenith.
Yes.
All right, beautiful. And let me just move Orthus' sheet back out there so I can click on everybody's. Okay. So each character enters play with 3 Fabula points. And so those go on the character page. Down at the bottom, you'll see 3 Fabula points.
Oh, like you can put a number in the circle next to Fabula.
Yep. And then finally comes the naming and finishing touches. So, what are we thinking? We already have a name for Vorthus' character. We've got Claire Spitfire. Does anybody else have a name for their character?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go ahead and say my guy's name is Felix.
Okay. Just Felix?
Yeah, just Felix, no last name.
Okay. Works for me. Shy or Thread, do either of you have a name for your character?
I want to play on some sort of moon. I know some moon names. Calypso. What are some other moon names?
Diana.
There's Diana.
Artemis.
I do like Artemis. Okay.
I mean, even Luna is an actual name.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But Luna from DeLuna it's a little overkill. um, I really like Artemis. I was playing with like first name Everdeen, last name Artemis.
Okay.
That works.
Yeah. I dig it.
Apparently, I didn't know this. Apparently, Chandra is means moon.
Ah,
Interesting.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, I just wanted to look up some example names that mean moon, and apparently Chandra is one of them.
Do we have a like family name of those in control of Denova, like the king? We have a family name of like the last name.
I do not. Oh wait, sorry. The last name is Clarimond. Clarimonde.
Okay.
And
Okay.
your father
Yeah, I can
is
work with
Roland Clarimond.
Of course, he would give me an R name.
Are you going to be
I have
Roland
decided on
Clarimond
the
the
name.
second?
God no. Thankfully no.
AKA
My
RJ.
father wasn't that mean. I have decided upon Rain.
Rain Clarimond. Okay. I like it.
AIN or EIGHN? Oh, sorry,
One more time.
REIG. So is it RAIN or is it rain water or rain rule? REIGN. There it is.
Neither.
Okay.
Well, it would be closer to the water. It'd be RAYN.
Ah, okay.
That's lit.
There's debating an E at the end, but people might pronounce that rainy. And he was, meh.
I think more people are now going to have dyslexia and pronounce it Ryan.
Probably had that
That could-
happen as well. I imagine
That
going
could be
through school.
your...
Ryan Claire. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Rain Claremont, are you here?
Yes,
Well,
that could be
I'm so
your...
sorry, young prince.
short
And he's
stuff.
just like, what are you? It's fine.
Well, excellent.
That could,
All right,
that
we
could be your
have
activation.
our characters built. This is the basics all done up. We are, like I said, going to clean these up a little bit. We can delve into bonds. That's more sort of story stuff. So that's really up to you guys. But for now, we are good. Is there anything else you guys would like to bring up, talk about, mention, anything of that nature? Perfect.
I am extremely excited, Count.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, me
And-
as well. These characters seem a little less weeby than I thought. We'll see how that maintains as we get into actually playing.
Yeah.
We're worried. Meanwhile, what he doesn't know is that all four of us have already talked behind it. No.
Yep. Wouldn't be the first time that my players have made a group chat that I am not part of so they can discuss stuff behind my back. Yeah, Decaf's part of those.
Boy.
But yeah, I think we are good here, and we are coming up on about time. So, thank you everybody who took the chance to check this out. We are going to be back, God willing, 2 weeks from now. Should be around the same time. Yep, that is the plan presently. So, until then, we are going to say, stay safe, be good, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.